What's going on, everybody? BJ Porter of the Porter Report here. With Labor Day weekend in the rearview mirror, summer has officially come to an end. With that in mind, I wanted to take a moment and thank each and every one of you for the love and support you've given this channel throughout the summer movie season. This was a dauntingly brand new endeavor for me, and it was so encouraging to see all the shares and views that you guys contributed to throughout these past few months. My goal, as always, is to create content and grow this channel to be a safe space for those looking for honest, layered, and thoughtful takes on the properties and stories we all love. For that, I am eternally grateful for any bit of support that I've received since the channel has launched. But don't get it twisted, just because the summer is over doesn't mean we're done covering all the silver screen madness in 2025. I'd even venture to say that we are just getting started. In just a few short days, we'll be transitioning into our fall and winter movie slates, and best believe we got a whole lot on the menu to look forward to. So today, I wanted to take a moment and give you guys a look ahead at the upcoming movies you can look forward to for the remainder of 2025. With a good amount of these movies set to come out in a matter of days, the seasonal transition will be here before you know it. So let's dive right on in and talk about it. This upcoming Friday, we'll see the release of our first movie in the fall movie slate, which is the long-awaited and highly anticipated adaptation of The Long Walk. This movie is particularly special because it's not just another film adaptation of a Stephen King novel. This is a film adaptation of Stephen King's first novel. The book is an emotionally gut-wrenching and psychologically intense thriller, and from what I've seen from the trailer, those vibes are perfectly captured on camera. The movie is being directed by Francis Lawrence, who a lot of you may know from his work in the Hunger Games franchise, and stars the likes of David Johnson, Cooper Hoffman, Ben Wong, Judy Greer, and the legendary Mark Hamill, who plays the film's antagonist, the Major. The movie is a definite must-watch for the month of September, and all I gotta say is, if you're planning on getting attached to any of these characters, don't do it, please don't do it. Unless you're okay with spending the rest of the year in therapy. On that note, let's move on to the next movie that I'm sure is gonna have the complete opposite vibe. And that movie is the ultimate showcase of grit, hard work, determination, and satanic hero worship. Wow, this certainly took a turn. Yes, just in time for football season, we get a psychological horror thriller that doubles down on the notion that you should never really meet your heroes. Director Justin Trippin and producer Jordan Peele will bring us blood, violence, and sadistic mayhem in the movie simply titled Him. The movie stars Tariq Winters as up-and-coming superstar quarterback Cameron Cade, who gets the opportunity to train under the tutelage of his idol and legendary quarterback Isaiah White, played by Marlon Wayans. Yes, you heard that right, this Marlon Wayans. Look, I fully understand that this seems out of left field given his previous work, but do not get it twisted, this man is a gifted actor outside of the comedy genre, especially if you've seen his work in the film Requiem of a Dream and his work on the Peacock series Bel Air. Best believe this man could pull out all the stops regardless of the genre, and seeing him in this type of role could expose even more people to his incredible versatility. In a year that has already given us an immaculate collection of horror films, this is one that fans of the genre will not want to miss. Not long after, we close out the month of September with the latest film from Paul Thomas Anderson, simply titled One Battle After Another. The movie boasts an elite ensemble which includes the likes of Leonardo DiCaprio, Tiana Taylor, Regina Hall, Benicio del Toro, Wood Harris, and Sean Penn. No doubt this film promises top-tier performances and the full-tilt chaos that Paul Thomas Anderson is known for. But now the time has come to look ahead to the movies coming out in the first month of quarter 4 of 2025, which is October. But before I dive in, I want to give you guys an important update about a movie that was supposed to come out that month. If you guys remember my top 10 most anticipated movies for 2025 back in January, you may have noticed that one of the movies that I highlighted was the upcoming Michael Jackson biopic directed by Antoine Fuqua. While I'm still very much excited for the movie, we are unfortunately going to have to wait a little bit longer for it, given that the movie has officially been delayed to April of 2026. Details as to why it was pushed back are still up in the air. But to be honest with you, I would much rather them push it back and give us the best product possible, as opposed to them rushing it out and it not being up to the standard of storytelling fit for one of the greatest entertainers of all time. Best believe I'll be covering this extensively when it comes out, because this is definitely a movie I want to see them do right. But now let's talk about the movies that are actually coming out in October, starting with a movie that is going to be absolutely mandatory viewing for those who've been waiting for it for 15 years. And that movie, of course, is Tron Ares, set to release on October 10th. It is no secret that Disney has a lot of big-time franchises in their arsenal. But out of all of their original IP, very few of them stand out like Tron. The world of Tron is incredibly detailed and extensive, with a deep lore and a visually mesmerizing aesthetic. So the idea of coming back to this world after a decade and a half has so many fans excited, given that so many of them have been begging to come back to this world since 2010. If you are a fan of this franchise, the mission is clear if you want Disney to invest in stories in this world. You have got to show up in that theater. That is the best way to show the Mouse House that this is a franchise worth investing in, even if it doesn't reach the status of some of the more mammoth level heavy hitters. Also, on top of that, the movie looks freaking awesome, and I cannot wait to experience this on the biggest screen possible. But transitioning from one video game setting to another, we got round 2 of the battle between Earthrealm and Outworld in Mortal Kombat 2 set to release on October 24th, just in time for Halloween. After the brutal and bloody first installment in 2021, we return to the world of Mortal Kombat in all its bloody glory with some familiar faces, and some new faces including fan favorites Katana, Baraka, Jade, Shao Kahn, and of course the lovably egotistical Johnny Cage. With all these characters and more entering the fray this time around, this promises to be a bloody and violently delirious thrill ride from beginning to end. Hey, what's going on, guys? Just cutting in to give you a quick in-video update. While we are still on the subject of Mortal Kombat 2, I wanted to give you guys some news regarding the movie. While fans are excited and heavily anticipating the upcoming sequel, we are unfortunately going to have to wait a little bit longer for the tournament between Earthrealm and Outworld. It has recently been announced that Warner Bros. Has delayed the movie, so it will no longer come out on October 24th of this year. Instead, it will be released 6 months later with a new release date set for May 15th, 2026. Although initial reaction to this news may point to potential production problems, according to Warner Bros., it is actually the complete opposite. This is more of a strategic move to ensure that the movie has long legs at the box office. October is looking pretty crowded with competition spread throughout the month, in addition to Halloween being a week later. Even though we have to wait a little bit longer for this film, I'm confident, just like the Michael Jackson biopic I mentioned earlier in the video, this is going to result in a much better film upon release. Be sure to stay tuned for any updates regarding this film as we get closer to the new release date. Well, that's the end of the update. Let's get you back to the video. Later on in the month, we can look forward to a double dose of How to Train Your Dragon star Mason Thames, as he stars in both The Black Phone 2 and Regretting You. We can also look forward to a biopic that highlights one of music's greatest icons in Springsteen Delivered Me From Nowhere. So as you can see, October has a lot for us to look forward to. November, however, is where things really start to heat up. We kick things off on November 7th with the latest installment in the Predator franchise, Predator Badlands. To be honest, in the beginning, a lot of people were worried about how the Walt Disney Company would handle the Alien franchise and the Predator franchise following their acquisition of 20th Century Studios a few years back. However, the releases of Prey, Alien Romulus, Predator Killer of Killers, and the Hulu TV series Alien Earth have shown that the quality of storytelling and respect for what came before is heavily apparent. That trend seems to be continuing with Badlands, all while doing things a little bit different this time by having the Predator as the main protagonist. This is such a different approach to a Predator movie that switches up the formula, yet at the same time expands the lore and mythology. In addition to that, the inclusion of Elle Fanning's character as a synth provided by the always honest and never shady Weyland-Yutani Corporation is guaranteed to create a dynamic that can create some very interesting connections to the two franchises moving forward. But if you're literally just coming into this looking for the brutality-laced kills and action, oh, trust me, you're gonna get all of that and more with this one. Speaking of action, you can expect a double dose of that on November 14th, courtesy of directors Ruben Fleischer and Edgar Wright. Heading back into the twisted mind of Stephen King, we see yet another competition taking place, but unlike The Long Walk, this one has a little bit more speed to it in addition to a whole lot more bullets. Glenn Powell leads an action-packed adrenaline fest alongside Josh Brolin, Coleman Domingo, Michael Cera, and Jamie Lawson in the latest on-screen adaptation of The Running Man. On that same day, we return to what I consider one of the most underrated gems in the heist genre, with the third installment of the Now You See Me franchise that is appropriately titled Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Then we transition into Thanksgiving week and we return to one of my favorite places in Disney's cinematic lore. On November 26th, we're back on the case with Nick Wilde and Judy Hopps with the highly anticipated release of Zootopia 2. This is absolutely a must-watch for me given how much I absolutely adore the 2016 classic. It is absolutely insane that the 10-year anniversary of the first movie is coming next year. But until then, I'm excited to return to this world for another adventure with the ZPD's finest. So now that we've talked about everything coming in November, let's transition over to... Okay, that's weird. Anyway, let's wrap it up by talking... Okay, seriously, where is that coming from? As I was saying, moving on to the Okay, what in the odds is going on? Oh, right. Did you guys honestly think I was going to talk about November and not mention Wicked for Good? Of course, I'm salivating just as much as you guys are for the next chapter in one of the biggest cinematic phenomenons of the decade. Rest assured that the emotional stakes are high as we get ready to witness the epic conclusion to the untold story of the Witches of Oz. Seeing Elphaba and Glinda on screen together again is going to be such a thrill and also emotionally gut-wrenching, knowing where the story eventually leads. If you do not have Wicked for Good on your watch list for November, make it your mission to do so. I promise you it's guaranteed to change you for the better. Okay, now we can move over to the movies coming out in December to close out the year. December has some pretty decent cinematic fare on tap to look forward to, including Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the comedic reboot of Anaconda starring Paul Rudd and Jack Black, and of course another SpongeBob movie. But let's not kid ourselves, the biggest thing we can look forward to in December is our return trip to Pandora in the third installment of the Avatar franchise with Avatar: Fire and Ash. Out of all the movies that are set to come out in Q4 of 2025, this has the honor of being the show-stopping finale to a year at the movies. Promising new clans, bigger battles, and higher stakes, I am super excited to dive into this third chapter, which is already being billed as one of the most emotionally charged installments in the series. Needless to say, I can't wait for this film to bring the heat this Christmas. As you can see, we are far from done when it comes to cinematic madness this year. Creating content on this channel has been quite the journey, especially with the chaos of summer movie season 2025. But I for one live for this type of chaos, especially when it comes to preserving the art of going to the movies. I truly hope that you guys are just as excited as I am for the movies that are set to come out for the remainder of the year, and the incredible sense of joy that each of them will come with. And on that note, the time has come to hear from you guys. Sound off in the comments below your most anticipated movie for the fall and winter, and also feel free to share your favorite movie of the year so far. Be on the lookout for all these upcoming movies and more videos on the channel all throughout the remainder of 2025. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to stop on by. I hope everybody has an amazing fall and winter, and until we see each other next time, I'm BJ Porter, and this has been The Porter Report.